Thank you all for joining in today. Today is our weekend episode, SCCM episode number 7, right? And this is season 2 of our weekend learning. This is provided by How to Manage Devices community, and we will come to I will explain you about the community in a bit. Right before that, let me go through the weekend sessions for the this particular weekend, right? So I need to change this, right? So I think this is episode number total. If you look at the total episode, including SCM and Intune, this is episode number 9, right? But if you exclude Intune from SCM, then this is 7. 7. This is the 7th episode for SCM. Okay, and tomorrow we will have some interesting sessions. So tomorrow, Joy will be presenting about Intune, right? Getting to know Intune at a deeper level, right? So he will be going through the troubleshooting steps about the Intune, some deep level troubleshooting, etc., etc., right? How Intune works in the background from a service side, etc., etc. He will go through, right? So that would be an interesting session. That would be 1 hour session, and after that, we will see what is WVD, right? I don't know how many of you know WVD. WVD is basically Windows Virtual Desktop, right? This is a Microsoft offering from Azure. So this is a cloud. It's a probably Microsoft Azure VDI solution. If you know what is VDI, right? This is WVD is Microsoft Azure VDI solution. Okay, so we will see that tomorrow, right? Today we are going to see the SCM part. How do we do the client management, right? Yes, last week we have seen how to configure the discovery, how to configure the boundaries and boundary groups and all, right? Now we will see client management. Probably we will install client on Windows 10 machine and one of the servers, and probably we'll find out what is it exactly, right? What is the experience, how to troubleshoot, and what are the options to install client, etc., etc., right? Okay, so let me go into the other slides, right? So this is the how to manage device community. So we have around 18 core members in this community, and we post we post over here in this particular web blog, right? If you want to know about them in detail, you can go over here into this particular blog URL, right? You will come to know what is their expertise, right? Core members expertise and what they are doing, etc., etc., right? And if you want to connect with us through Facebook or Instagram, you can go over here, right? You can go over here and connect with us. And we have several WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups. Feel free to join those. Okay, if that is relevant for you. Okay. So other thing I wanted to highlight is about the forum, HTMD forum, right? So this is a device management forum exclusively for device management. We created this forum and we published this forum, I think 2 months back. Okay, and we have a great response from all of you. Thank you all for the support, as always, right? If you have any questions related to configuration manager, SCCM, Intune, please log into this particular forum, how htmd-forum.com, and try to ask questions, right? You can ask questions from here, right? So this is exclusively for device management admins, right? So probably I also ask questions in this forum because I'm not superhero or something, right? I have my own questions, right? I have my own troubleshooting issues. Then I normally ask questions here as well, right? So probably many others from the community can help with answering the questions also, right? Sharing the troubleshooting experience, etc., etc., right? Okay, so that is about the HTMD forum. So these are the top contributors of the last week. I didn't get time to update this for this week. Probably I will update before tomorrow's uh, training session or meeting, right? So these are the contributors. As you can see, um, there is a point system over here, and there is a um, there are I don't know what is that called, badges, right? Yeah, badges are available over here: expert, professional, admins, etc., etc., right? And beginner, right? And it would be interesting to have this, and we will publish this list every week within all our channels, right? Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, right? And all our WhatsApp and Telegram groups, right? So and it would be kind of like highlighting your profile, I would say, right? So if you are part of this, probably people will come to know you are contributing to the community, and you are expert in this area, and you are somewhat authoritative, right? So probably that will help you for expert tip over here, right? Probably that will help you for your next interview, right? So
Absolutely, absolutely. That's true.
so that is one of the point I wanted to highlight. Okay, so that's about the HDMD forum. Okay, so apart from that, this is the stats of last week. That's it. So to give you a background of this initiative, right? A new we started with setting up a lab in Azure, right? I don't know how many of you were part of the initial weeks of this training, right? So we took a trial version of Azure subscription, and we started building servers, right? And we built resource groups, virtual networks, and subnets in Azure. And then we built. If you're not speaking, can you please go on mute? Okay, thank you. Domain servers, SCCM and SQL servers. And then now I built a Windows 10 client also, right? And we are connecting these server infrastructure through something called Azure Bastion, right? So this is the very high level architecture of the connectivity and the infrastructure, right? We connect from here to Azure Portal, and Azure Portal will connect to Azure Bastion, and then through Azure Bastion we are connecting to SCCM server, domain controller, and probably a client server, right? So this is the overall architecture, high level architecture of SCCM lab setup we did, right? So as I mentioned last week, we have already created kind of did the discovery part, and this week we are going to install some clients, SCCM clients, and see how it goes, right? Let me share my screen so that I can show the lab and connectivity, etc. Okay, here you go. Hope you are all can sorry, you can see the screen. Okay, so this is the SCCM lab, and we have SQL also in the same box. Okay, so we have installed a 2002 baseline version in this lab. And last week, just give you a quick overview, right? What we did last week, we have enabled system discovery, we have enabled user discovery, right? And these are the two discoveries we have enabled, right, last week. And we have seen how to configure that, and how to troubleshoot it, how to look into the log files, which are the log files, etc., right? And we have created a boundary last week for this particular lab, and we have created a boundary group also, right? So this is a boundary group, and we have configured the boundary group with the boundary, and we talked about the entire concept of boundaries and boundary groups, right? So this is another thing which we are going to, which we explained last week, right? We created boundaries, and we assume that we will have boundary groups for each office, and we those clients will be connecting to a particular boundary group, and those clients will be the boundary group will have a configuration to contact a particular DP, MP, etc. in that particular office, right? Local office. Okay, so that was a quick overview of last week's topics, right? Okay, now today what I'm trying to show you is basically how to install clients. Now let's go to assets and complaints. As you can see, the new last week we have seen HTMD domain came into this, okay, and today, if you can see, today we have a new device, right? New device over here, that is HTMD Windows 10. So if you look at the time somewhere here, if I can see, right, I don't know whether I would be able to see of the discovery. If I go to properties, so the agent time 27, right? 27 is today. Over here you can see 27, and this record got created like around 30 minutes before, right? So I built a server, new Windows 10 client device in this lab, and it automatically got discovered now, right? now now we can, you can see over here, right? There is no client, right? Unless and until we don't have client, we won't be able to manage those devices using SCCM, right? So you cannot deploy any application now to this device because there is no client, and the policies won't get into the client device unless and until we have a client component in the device, right? So if you can go over here and check the client device somewhere, this is the client device, right? So this is the Windows 10 client device which I built, right? So this is the Windows 10 latest version 2004, and if I go to services, right, services.msc, there won't be any client over here or services over there. And if I go to control, let me go to control panel and search configuration, there's nothing over here also, right? So there is no configuration manager applet, and there is no service. Let me check the service also, right? So there is no service, there is no SCCM service, there is no client component, right? So client, SCCM client or configuration manager client is not part of Windows 10 operating system. You need to install a separate client, then only you would be able to manage, right? So until now we were seeing the server side of the configurations, right? Now we need to install a client on this device, then only we would be able to manage the devices from through SCCM. Okay, so that is the basic funda of SCCM. Okay, so this is server client architecture, right? So if server needs to talk to client, then client should have the client components. So that is what we are going to install today. Okay, so I wanted to show you something before I go back to the server. Okay, I forgot what was that. Okay, anyways, let me go back to the console, and now let's see what are the options to install client. Okay, so let's go over here and let's go back into the Microsoft documentation, right? So there are many options to install client. Let me go to a simplest view of it first, right? So if I go over here, we have a blog post in uh, our blog, how to manage devices.com, right? Install SCCM client manually over there. So these I have kind of noted down all the possible client installation options, right? First option is client push. Okay, SCCM. So there's something called client push, which we can do once the devices are discovered, right? You know now what is discovery, right? We did that discovery, and that is discovery from administration, and this is the discovery methods, right? We did that discovery, system discovery from active directory, and now SCM is aware that we have these many clients in our organization, right? In this particular lab, in this particular example, right? So SCM knows like these are the devices available in this lab environment, right? Now we have discovered these devices through active directory discovery method. Now once we have discovered these devices, now you can use something called client push to install the clients on the device from SCM console itself, right? So this is my favorite method, but in a real world scenario, right, you might get lot of issues with client push, or if you want to enable client push, you need to open lot of firewall ports, and your security team might not be happy with it, right? Okay, so we will see what are those, right? And we will see how to tackle it, etc., etc., right? Okay, the second option is software update point based installation. We can install SCCM clients so through something called software update point, right? So that is another way of installing SCCM clients. So this is basically a group policy kind of stuff, right? And the other one is pure group policy. Okay, so through group policy, if the devices are domain joined, then you can use the group policy, create a group policy, and that will help you to install the client. So this is the easiest way, group policy for the domain joined devices. Okay, but there are some caveats, like as you know, group policies, tattooing, etc., right? There would be some tattoo, and it would be, you would be having some problem to remove the those registry entries from the client device when you have some troubleshooting, some issues, or if you want to reassign the sites, etc., etc., right? Yeah. Okay. Other one is you can use Microsoft Intune to install clients. Other one is like if you want to install it through package and program, you can do that. For example, if you want to kind of upgrade the clients, right? 2000, if you are using 2007 SCCM 2007 and you want to upgrade it to SCCM current branch, or 2012 to current branch, you can use this method, right? Okay, so there are caveats also over there. OSD task sequence is another method, right? So if you are using OSD task sequence, during the OSD task sequence, you can install the client. So probably you must be aware of this already, right? I think one of my favorite method in a real world is this one, right? Logon script, right? So you can have a logon script and you can install the client. And Jason Sandys, I think he's Microsoft program manager, senior program manager now. Earlier he was Microsoft MVP. He got a great logon script to install clients, right? So I would recommend to use that in a real world kind of a scenario. Okay, but um as I mentioned, my favorite is always like client push, right? Because I have seen issues with logon script. uh, it's not technical issues, right? It is political issues, right? Yeah, if you are working for a large organization, if you have a different AD team, right, who is managing Active Directory, and you don't have access to Active Directory to create group policies, etc., then you will kind of struggle to make them understand, right, what we need to do to make this working, etc., right? So that is lot of efforts, right? Either way, it's lot of efforts, to be honest, right? Client push with security team and opening firewall ports, etc., etc. If you are a small organization, then probably you can use this, right? Okay, I mean client push. Work group clients. So work group clients, you need to install it manually. There is no other way. Internet based clients, so that is also kind of a manual way or some other method you need to follow, right? And the manual installation over here, right? So these are the high level options to install clients. Probably I have missed something. If please try to comment in the chat window, right? So okay, so that is the client installation methods available. Now let's see which are. So this is great documentation from Microsoft, right? It says what are the advantages of client each installation client installation methods, right? Client push. So supported for only for Windows clients, not for Linux, not for a Mac, right? This is not supported for Mac OS and apart any other OS apart from Windows, right? This is only for Windows. Okay, so advantages. So these are the advantages, right? Automatically install client on all discovered devices, right? This can be done pretty easily if the ports are open with one click, or not literally not one click. Okay, several clicks, right? But the disadvantages, if you use a large collection to have a client push, then probably there would be a lot of traffic, network traffic, right? If you are concerned about that, then you need to kind of caution about it, right? And the other one is the devices should be discovered, right? Then only you can use the client push. For example, if a device is not there in this SCCM console, right, configuration manager console, then you won't be able to use client push. So client push, right? This is the client push. Install client push, right click and install client push. So simple, right? It is straightforward stuff. That is why this is my favorite one, right? But it has its own caveats, I as I mentioned over here, and it's there in the Microsoft documentation also, right? So workgroup clients, it is not possible, right? And client push installation account must be specified that has administrative rights to the intended client. So this could be one of the bigger challenges with the security team, right? Windows firewall must be configured, right? Windows firewall must be disabled in some scenarios, right? You cannot cancel. That is another thing, right? It will continue retrying for 7 days, right? So that is another thing, right? But probably you can do something. You can try to cancel it, you can try to delete it, but it is not recommended, right? Probably you need to raise a support ticket, or you can refer. I will show you, right? There is another method to do that. Okay, software update point installation. So this is the second one I listed over here in the other blog post. So you can use the existing software update infrastructure. If you have a WSOS, right? Then you can use this, and that would be easy to do it, right? If you are already using WSOS, then if you want to install SCCM. So if you are not using WSOS, then I don't think this is useful for you. And I'm not going to go through all the points over here, right? But I will provide the link in the description of the video so you can refer it, right? Okay, the group policy installation, you can see like, oh, large number of clients are being installed, it can go and cause network issues, right? So that is one. But if you look at the group policy, the disadvantages are very less, right? Only two, right? And logon script, a real time, real world favorite, right? As I mentioned, if you ask me for an enterprise, I would say like this is the best option, right? And the logon script installation, it doesn't require computer to be discovered, not required. Any computer you can support using command line properties for CCM setup, right? So that is why I mentioned Jason Sandys as a great logon script installation script, right? And normally I recommend using that script, right, to install the clients in a real world scenario. Okay. Okay. The other one is manual installation. So manual installation is very useful, right? Where if you want to test and understand, try and understand what is happening during the installation, and what is that installation process, what is the background process, right, during the installation, right, etc, etc. So if you are trying to learn SCM, then I would recommend you doing manual installation also, right? That will give you some insights what is happening. Same thing with all, right? Everything is every method is kind of a new learning, right? So client push also you will learn, right? What is client push and how can we configure it, etc, etc, right? So that is about the client installation methods, right? Now other methods also there, as I mentioned, Intune method. So that is not covered, it's not relevant over here, so I'm not going to cover that, right? If you are interested to learn Intune, probably you can attend the daily training which we arrange, right?
Can I ask
Weekdays
you a
training.
question? Hello, uh, Arun here. Can I ask you a question there?
Okay.
Okay, so in the client push installation method, in the last line, it was written that you cannot cancel the client push for the next 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so if after initiating the client push method, after let's say 2 or 3 days, I kind of feel that no, it's not required. I have to cancel that. So there is no way to cancel it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, okay, fine then. Yeah, that's what my question was. Okay, thank you, Anu.
Great. Okay, so let's go into the console, right? And I will give you a tip about that, Arun, in a bit, right? So there are some ways you might need to raise a ticket, support case, or something like that. You can do, and they can do some registry hacking in the database, and that will help you. But I don't recommend that. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Anyways, anyways, okay. So let's go um into the console again and see what we can do now, right? So now let's try to install a client on a SCM server itself, right? I don't have I don't have client over here in this device, right? In this SCM server. Okay. So let me go to control and let me check config manager, right? So there is nothing configuration manager applet over here. There is no client, right? There's nothing over here, right? So let's try to install a client over here using install client push method, right? So this is the client push method which I explained. Now before that, let me try to log in to my logs favorite folder. Okay. um so logs, let's sort this with the date modified and keep it this side. Okay, now let's cancel it and let's reinitiate it. So right click on the device. If you want to, if you are a learner, right, if you want to learn what is client push, select one particular device and try to install it, right? Don't do it on a all system collection. I don't know whether all system collection will have this. Okay, yeah, it's there, right? All system collection, don't do it, right? Okay.
నేను ఏడ ఉంటుండక్క నేను ఏడ ఉంటుండ అవునవును ఓకే
Okay, so that wasn't not interesting, but anyways, okay. So if you're not speaking, can you please go on mute and make sure you're on mute when you speak? Not like if you don't want to ask any questions, make sure uh, you're on mute, right? Okay. Okay, so I lost. Where was I? Okay, anyways, okay, we were trying to install a client on the SCCM server itself, right? So I was mentioning don't install, don't start testing it on all devices, right? Okay, so you can, the point is basically you can install the client for entire collection, right? So for example, if I have a collection, custom collection which has only two test clients, right, and I want to install client. I want to install, uh, do a client push on those devices. Probably you can do it with the client push method. Right clicking on the collection and click on install client. Right. In this scenario, I'm going to devices. I'm going to SCCM server. This is my SCCM server record. Right, and I'm going to install client. Okay. So here is the client installation wizard. It has a lot of details over there. Site system server account. Okay, the site server account or a client push installation account is a member of local administrator group, right? On the client computer. In this scenario, yeah, it is already there because this is the same, right? Site system server is the same as the client in this scenario. This is SCCM server, so we don't have any challenge over there, right? The site system server can resolve computer name of the client, right? So the ping and the name resolution DNS should be working, right? So that is one of the item which I kind of explained during the discovery also, right? And somebody asked me about the flow charts, right? So if you want to see the flow charts, client installation flow charts, you would be able to see this, right? So this is the client installation process flow chart, which is, I'm trying to zoom in, okay, so that you would be able to see. Okay, so this is the client installation process flow chart. If you are, this is pretty old, but it is still relevant to understand the main scenarios of the flow chart. I'm not going to go through the each and every step, but it is available in the troubleshooting guide over here, which I shared um, in the blog. Okay, I will make sure that this link is also there in the description of the video. Okay, at the bottom of the description, right? Okay, so this is the way. If you want to understand what is happening when you initiate a client install, what is going to happen, this is the best way to understand that, right? Okay, so there are a lot of resources available if you want to understand, learn SCCM, right? How it works, or configuration manager, right? How it works, etc., etc., right? You need to have proper community connections, I would say, right? If you are connected to how to manage devices community, probably you would be able to learn lot of these things, right? As you can see, there are a lot of flowcharts available in the blog post, right? SCCM troubleshooting steps blog post, right? So this would be very interesting for you if you want to learn lot of new stuff, right? Okay, so where is it? Okay, anyways, okay, so this is the client push wizard, right? So it's just a DNS. You need to have a DNS, and this is another pain point for for client push admin dollar share, right? The security team always want to block this, right? So this is only needed for client push, right? And at the time of client push, probably after that you can kind of disable it, right, if you want. And if your security team is not happy with this admin dollar share, then you can disable it, right? But for the client push, you need admin dollar, right? Defender firewall, you need to either disable it. I don't recommend disabling it in real world scenario, but in the lab, I already kind of disabled it, right, on the client end as well as on the. Let me show you in the Windows 10 client whether I have disabled it or not. Firewall.cpl. So firewall.cpl, I have disabled it only for something, but I'm going to disable it for all the other components also, right? So that will make my life easy when I try to install something, right? Okay, so this is the client part. So I have disabled um, firewall, but I don't recommend to do this in the production scenario. In the production scenario, there is a documentation available how we can make this work with the firewall rules, right? You if you have a third party firewall enabled software like Symantec, you need to do this for Symantec as well, right? You need to have those firewall rules open, right? If you are using Symantec firewall. Okay. Management point is operational, obviously. Management point, we have installed management point, and we have seen how we can check the management point in the previous videos also, right? And previous episodes also, right? Okay. So that is kind of the high level overview what is needed. I would say this is kind of a prerequisite, right? For the installation, and it is pretty clear over here, right? Every hour for up to 7 days. Right? Okay, it will retry every hour up to 7 days if it fails, right? So these are the this is one of the caveats. And let's click next, right? And now the specify client push option, allow client push installed on the domain controller, right? So you need to be very careful when you install client on the domain controller. That is why it is a separate box. By default, it won't install client on a domain controller, right? Okay, so that is one important note, right? And this is pretty useful in many scenarios, right? People by mistakenly, if they install a client on a domain controller, that can cause a lot of impact, right? Okay, always install client software. This is another interesting option, right? Always install the client software. When a computer already has a configuration manager client installed, you can repair, upgrade, or reinstall the client software. This is interesting in many scenarios, troubleshooting scenarios especially, right? Okay, so this is interesting scenario, right? Always install client software. Okay, install client software from a specific site. Okay, so this is normally useful, right? We have only one particular site, but yeah, let's enable that, right, and see what is happening. I normally enable these two. Okay, so uninstall the existing client. This is for the cleanup installation, right? If you enable the always always install client software option. If you enable this, this is kind of cleaning up the existing client and installing it fresh. This is pretty useful in terms of in some scenarios like troubleshooting scenarios, as I mentioned before, right? Okay, anyways, let's enable these two at the moment, but my recommendation would be test it, test this configurations in your environment and select which one which one is the best for your organization or your lab environment, right? Okay, so select next. Now it will try to install the client, start the installation of the client probably, right? So let's do this, right? Let's go back to the logs and let's find out a log file called CCM. Okay, so this is the log file for client push. Okay, so this is to now time is 3 minutes. Okay, this is 3 minutes before, updated 3 minutes before. Let's open this up. Always use log reader, right? And check. Okay, that's interesting. I lost the connectivity. Let me try to connect back. Where is my VM? Sorry about that. To connect, this is the Bastion service. If you have not part of, if you have not been part of the initial demos, sorry, videos, so this is the one. Okay, not reachable, username password is incorrect. I know, I didn't put the username and password. Give me a sec. I don't remember the username and password. Let me try to find out that, and let me copy the password. Now let's connect. Okay, so now we are back. Okay, sorry about that. Now we are back in the CCM, and you can see the component which we are working with now, right? Client is SMS client config manager, right? It's real SMS, right? It's always be SMS, right? Okay, so I don't know how many of you worked on SMS, right? I started with SMS 2003. Okay, okay. In I have a network issue. Okay, uh, going back over here, and let me open this side by side, right? Probably it would be helpful. Hmm. So this is the first part of the analysis which we need to kind of do. Okay, so first log, whenever you client push, you need to do this analysis, right? Client push. Now let's click next, right? And let's see what is going to happen now, right? And now it started working on this, right? Okay, so something happened, right? Now let's analyze. Unable to, okay, that is fine. Let analyze. So don't get worried about those red marks, right? So that is normal. Okay, so this is where it started. Executing query SPCP. There is some clue over here, right? Which is the stored procedure, which is being used over here, right? Stored procedure is being used. SP get a new client push mission, right? And set client push request mission status. The lot of SP. Why I was saying SP. This is CP, right? Client push, right? Okay. I always get confused between S and C. Okay. I don't know why. Okay, anyways, CP is client push. This is the stored procedure. SP is stored procedure, and CP is client push. So this is something to do with SQL database, right? So, okay. Okay. Let me go back to SQL database over here, and let me try to check where is my database. uh, Stored procedures, right? If I go to stored procedures over here in the SQL database, I don't recommend you doing anything on the SQL database, right? But this is kind of an tip. Probably it might help you. uh, so okay, I didn't filter it properly, I think, right? I need to filter this one. Let's filter it with CP, right? So that we can see all the client push related stored procedures. Why it is not showing anything? This is, let me remove this, remove the filter. Okay, anyways, it doesn't show uh, filtering option. Says something wrong with the filter. Okay, this one probably. I will remove this also. Now let's see what is there. Okay, anyways, it is not showing anything, but probably you can see something over here. CP stored procedures. Remove the filter, right? And let me expand this. And if you can see something called SPCP, then let me know. This is pain. That filter should work actually. Okay. So basically what I'm trying to say is all these stored procedures are somewhere here in the SQL database. Okay. So we will find out this in a bit. I'm not able to find it over here. I'm looking into a wrong thing, wrong location or something. Okay. Anyways. So basically the idea was to look into the SQL and check what is that stored procedure, right? And so basically you can understand all these are related to a stored procedure, and it is doing something in the SQL database, right? So that is from that place it is kind of getting reinitiated every over 7 days for 7 days, right? Or retry is being initiated using that kind of a scenario. Okay, another thing which I can show you in the SQL is basically this one, right? If you run this command, this query v underscore cp, this is again client push, right? Machine, and check, right? Ah, okay, now we can see. Right? So this is the client push record, right? Available in database now, right? So it can see push site code, assign site code, and initial request, right? Number of processes attempts, how many attempts already completed, right? What is the status, etc., right? So this is very useful in terms of troubleshooting, right? But do not change anything in the database, so that is not recommended at all, right? This is only for the advanced kind of troubleshooting. If you have a trouble with SCCM client installation or client push installation, right? So let's go back to the CCM log. This is the log from the client, sorry, server side, right? So this is saying processing started CCR, processing thread, uh, and if you can go through this and the flow chart which I mentioned right before, which I showed you before, this one, right, that would help you to understand better, right? So warning, no remote client installation account found. We have not created any account, right? Remote client installation account we have not created, right? So we need to create that if we want to use that. So now I mentioned this is site system, and site system should have access to the site system itself, right? So it is trying to connect to, see, where admin share. So this is why admin share is required, right? Client push is trying to connect to admin share. So if the client push, if the admin share is disabled, this will fail. The installation won't work. Okay. Now let's analyze and say, oh, what is this? What is this happening here? What is happening here? Right. So this is unable to get SMS underscore some object, right? So this is checking the WMI of the device, of the client device which we push the client. And obviously if the client is not installed, then obviously the this particular WMI class won't be available. Okay, so you can easily, or you can ignore this, right? You don't worry about this error. Error is this one, right? You don't worry about this, right? You can just ignore it, right? Now what is happening next? Creating, verifying, copying existence of destination directory. CCM setup is being copied to admin dollar, right? So admin dollar, in admin dollar it is kind of creating a CCM setup. Let's check what is happening in CCM admin dollar. I don't know whether I will have access from here or not. This is with the system account or not. Okay, this is the admin dollar share. I don't know if you have not seen this before. All right, this is the admin dollar, right? You know which is this folder, right? See, this is system 32. You can see system 32 over here. You can see system apps. Now you know which folder is this, right? Any guesses? Probably you can chat, mention this in the chat. Okay, so CCM setup, this is basically Windows folder, right? Okay, so CCM setup, you can see CCM setup, it got copied, it got created, right? So creating, verifying, copying, right? That is done. Copying the files to CCM setup, creating the client, copying the clients, deleting the install lookup file. This is again the lookup file is being created and deleting, executing the query. It the why it is red mark? There is error in that stored procedure, client push stored procedure, right? The name of the stored procedure is set last error code. That is why it shows error. So ignore, all the reds are not wrong, right? Okay, so very important, right? Very important thing. These two, these two are very important. I missed one over here, right? These two are very important. These two lines. Always search if you have lot of, if you deployed client push to say 10 missions and you want to check the do the troubleshooting, then keep in, use this particular search keyword, right? So every log will have search keywords, right? In the previous videos I have mentioned several search keywords, right? To search in the log files, right? If you during the MSI installation, it is always return value 3, right? You need to search that. You will find the exact error, uh, 3 lines or 4 lines below or above, I forgot, above that line, that error, right? Return value 3. Okay, so for the client push CCM.log, this is the key search. So what is happening over here? This server is handing over the SCCM installation. Server has done everything which it needs to be done, right? Or it has to do with the installation of with the client push um, feature, right? So it hand over it did hand over the activity to the client now. So how it is doing it? It is doing it by creating a service, right? And it is asking that service to install the client, right? So started service CCM setup on the client, right? So CCM setup service has been started on the client, right? Now after that it is removing the log file, right? These are the two important log file entries which you need to remember when you troubleshoot the client push, right? Now rest others are like, okay, you can understand. You will you if you have any problem at the server side with the connectivity, then you won't be able to see these two services, right? These two log entries you won't be able to see. If you have any problem with DNS, or you have any problem with this particular share, or you have any problem with admin share, right? Then you don't have access to do client push, right? You have not configured the client installation and the client installation account. You have not configured your site server doesn't have access to the client. Then you won't see these two lines, right? These two lines, if you see these two, when you see these two lines, it means a server side is fine. Now you need to check the client side if there is any issue in on the client side or not, right? Now oh, again, I don't know what is happening over here. mm, okay, let's reconnect. Bastion is not stable today. Okay. Okay. So now let's see the client side, right? Client side of things. Now go to c- go to the client. Now if you are not installing client push or a client on a SCCM server, then you need to go to the client device and check the logs over there. But in our scenario, we are installing this on a SCCM server itself, right? So you can check the clients from here, right? I'm going to use this admin dollar itself, right? That is where we can see the CCM setup over here, right? CCM setup over here. And it might say, no, you don't have access. Okay, that's fine. And then I need to go to C colon. So that is where the log file would be, if I'm not wrong. Probably it might be in somewhere else also, right? So CCM setup, right? CCM setup. This is the log file folder, right? Where you can find the remaining part of the SCCM installation log. So these are the components or files which got copied and got created during the client push installation. So this folder got created during our client push. So you need to remember this folder path, right? It's always CCM setup. And to check the log files, so these are the, sorry, before going into log files, right? This is the main file, CCM setup. Always use this file, right? Don't use the client MSI, right? That is not recommended. Always use the CCM Setup.exe, okay, to install the clients, to pull down all the required prerequisites, etc, etc, right? Okay, so let's go into the logs now, right? So there are two important logs over here. I don't know what happened. Okay. So two important logs over here. One is CCM setup, right? CCM setup will give you a high level overview of what is happening on the client side or client installation, right? As you can see, there are a lot of red marks over here, right? Successfully deleted, fallback, what happened, I don't know, right? We need to check that, right? So installation failed or installation succeeded, right? We don't know, we need to check that. Okay, so we will check that, right? So this is the overview of the client installation, right? So this folder, log file will give you the client side installation overview. If you want to do a deep level troubleshooting of client installation, then always open client.msi.log file, right? So this is the msi log file. This will give you end to end details, what has happened, and what are the processes happened during the client installation on the client end, right? So this is taking long time to open up, so you can understand uh, lot of log entries will be here, and it might take lot of time to understand this log file, right? And probably it will be once you understand this, it will be easy for you, right, to troubleshoot on the issues, right? Windows windows installer install the product name, configuration manager, client, product version, right? Product language, this is the language id for locate. I forgot the name actually, locate id or something, right? For english, right? And manufacturer, installation success or error. It seems okay to me at this point of time, right? And um, let's analyze this particular log file, right? So this is again shows in red, right? You know why it shows in red. This is because even error is there, right? So you will see this red because you are using cm trace, right? So if you use notepad, probably that you will get more confused, right? Now let's see all msi installations, right? Always you can use return value 3 as your keyword, right? So return value 3, if I go up, there's nothing. That is also a positive sign for me, at least, right? I can see there's no errors, right, in the msi installation. I think msi installation is kind of succeeded, right? So let's go up on this particular log file and see what is happening over here. I'm not going to go through each line of this, but if you have time and if you are interested to learn what has happened and what is happening during the installation, you can see that, right? Over here, what is happening, client, it is calling client msi, right? And it is disabling, etc., etc., and a lot of things are going on over here, right? So if you are very interested to know, probably this is the best log file to understand, and you check to understand what is happening, how many wma entries it is getting created, how many what are all other things it is doing in the system, right? Registry entries, etc., etc. You will see a lot of those stuff, right? So as you can see, this is very long or heavy log file, I would say. Okay, see the registry entries over here. I think this is registry entry, right? So yeah, lot of things happening over here. Okay, so our end goal should be to understand whether the process got completed successfully or not, right? So that is one thing which you need to check, and you can see more files are getting compiled, right? Lot of wmi classes are being created during this process, right? Related to SCCM client, right? You would be able to see all those things over here in the log file. So this is pretty important log file, right? To understand the client installation and client components if you want to do a deep level kind of a troubleshooting. Okay, so that is msi Client.Msi.log, right? Client.Msi.log, right? Okay. So CCM setup, these two are the client side logs. Okay. So MSI client installation succeeded. Windows installer has requested a reboot. This is another interesting thing, right? Sometimes this is kind of an interesting message. Probably we might need to restart to get this working as expected, right? The client working as expected, right? Now let's see what happened in the control panel now, right? Now we have opened the control panel. Now let's search with this again, right? Config, and see whether you are able to see something over here, right? It says no, nothing there. Why it is not showing, right? Let's understand that, right? Probably we may need to restart. I don't know, right? Services.msc, uh, services.msc. Okay, now let's check what is here in this agent host. SMS agent host is running, right? That can be running before also. This is the one thing which is used for MP also, right? So that is another important thing. So MP management point and client are kind of sharing some of the components. When you install a management point and a client on a particular server, then you need to be pretty careful about that, right? Okay, so I'm not going to restart this client now, right? The server now. Now we have seen this, what has happened over here. Now let's try to refresh, and you can see, oh, the client is up and running, right? So it has a green check mark. I don't know how many of you know what is this green check mark. I have a blog post about this online version. This is online status, right? So if you enable one over here, right, a new column over here somewhere, you would be able to see. Let me go down, and if you can help me to find out, otherwise I'm going to leave this. Okay, last activity.
Just a bit up device online status.
Where was that? Okay, bit up. Okay. Thank you for that. Online from internet. Online status. Thank you. Okay. So this is the online status, right? And you can see online status over here, and you can see like client sorry, management point it is connecting to, right? So this is the management point it is connecting to. It is pretty useful. That is why configuration manager is awesome product, and it has lots of legacy, right? 20-25 years of legacy and code in it. So it is pretty difficult to develop these features also, but it is pretty heavy loaded product with lot of features, right? So this is useful. Now you can see the uh, client is installed on this server. Now I don't know why I am not able to see the component in the control panel now. Let me start the control panel again, and control. Why I'm searching control? Oh, okay. Here we go. Configuration manager, right? So this is the client applet, configuration manager client applet, right? And you can see over here co-management capabilities. I don't know, we have not enabled that co-management. You can see that, right? And you can see the components over here, right? Enabled, installed, actions. You can see actions over here, right? This is good sign. You can see a lot of actions. If you only see like two options, then you have some problem. with the client, right? Or the client didn't get the policies yet, right? Okay, so that is one thing which I wanted to show. You can see all these things over here, right? This is a applet thing, and you can see the site code, etc., over there, right? So this is one verification step you can do. Now let's go to the logs. No, not this one. Now I'm going to struggle to find out log file, right? See, for the client, right? This is only for the setup, right? But actual log file would be somewhere else, because this is not straightforward, because we have a MP also on this particular server, right? So I'm going to open another window, okay, over here, and I'm going to say F drive, and this is the SCCM installation drive, right? And configuration manager. Let me search over here log files. What is this log file? Oh, okay. So this is the log file for the client, if I'm not wrong. CCM setup. Let's check app. Okay, let's check policy evaluator, right? So okay, so this is the log file log file folder for the client, right? For the client. Why it is bit different on the server? Because we have, as I mentioned, installed as a management point also on the same server. That is why the log file folder, the client log file folder, is different, right? Otherwise it should be there in Windows itself. Okay, so we will see that in Windows 10 device in a bit. Okay, but this is the log file folder, and you need to, this is very important for you. You need to remember this difference. If you are checking SCCM client logs on a MP remote management point server, then you need to look into this particular location, right? Okay, rather than the default location. This is one of the tip I wanted to share with you. Okay, so that is one thing. Now let's understand where the tools folder, tools, no, not tools exactly, right? CM trace, I don't know whether MP will have CM trace. Okay, so CM trace folder, so sorry, not folder, right? CM trace log file should be there in the client folder, right? In all devices, right? So we will see this in Windows 10 also once we install that. Okay, now we have seen almost all the things about the what do you call, the client, right? Now let's go back and check the log files. One log file probably we'll check client ID manager or something, right? This is one of the client ID manager startup. This is one of the important log file. If you have any trouble in registering the client, if you have any duplicate records, if you by mistakenly used something like image, right? No, not sysprepped image or something like that, which has a client entry, then probably you will see a lot of things over here. So this is one of the important logs which you need to kind of look into, right? And there are a lot of other logs which is very important, which I'm not going to go through it now, right? One of them is policy agent log, right? Policy agent.log is is a is very important to understand whether the client is receiving any policies or not, right? And you will get some clues about the WMI uh, connectivities and the policies it is get receiving from the management point, etc., right? Client always talks to management point to get the policies, right? Okay, so that is the client way of doing client communication. So if the management point is down, client is not going to get any policies, etc., right? Okay, so these are the uh, important log files. And client policy evaluator is also an important log file. It will show you like how the policy is being evaluated, and during that are we getting some error, etc., right? All the policies, everything is policy in SCCM, right? Even if you enable kind of a component, or like hardware inventory or software inventory in SCCM through the client policies, then those all are policy, and those all will be kind of recorded in these log files, right? So it is very important to understand this, and like troubleshooting, from a troubleshooting perspective, right? It is very important to um, understand each log files and components. We have some blog posts available about the log files also. You can look into that, and Microsoft has also lot more details, right? So remember, you won't see all these log files in normal client, right? This is specifically for management point, right? And this is also very important, right? If you have a problem with client registration, there is already a clue which log file you need to look into, right? This is a log file. It's all already saying client registration, right? See, there's something called client registration in the name itself, right? MP client registration. So you would be able to see the record details and everything over here if you have some errors, etc., right? And all these are very important, right? And hardware inventory policy, all these are like very important log files in in client world, client communication, right? So if a client is not getting registered, then you can analyze all these logs, and you would be able to get some clue what is happening during the installation process or registration process, etc., right? So you need to remember, underscore mp underscore files are for management point related to the client activities, right? So this is another tip which I wanted to give you. Okay, so this is again sms underscore ccm and log file. Okay, so that is the client side of things, and some part I covered mp also, right? Server side also, right? Okay. now now let's go to the other thing, right? Other client. So this is my Windows 10 client. Now first, what I need to do is, let me try to ping this client, right? So let me try to ping to HTMD win 10, right? So this is the client. So is it able to ping? Oh, okay, good. That's good news. It is able to ping. It is able to resolve, right? It is able to resolve. The DNS resolution is there. Uh, okay, so that is good news. One part is working, right? We don't have any problem with that. Now I don't know what happened with this. Now my system got stuck. Okay, so now let's try to do some other stuff, right? Let's try to do uh admin dollar stuff. Okay, so I'm going to access the admin dollar of the client. Okay, let's see what is happening over there. Okay, admin dollar is fine on the client. Okay, so that is also positive. Now now what else, right? these are the two things which we can kind of check to understand whether it is going to work or not. But anyways, I don't know it is going to work or not, because we still have not configured the client push account, right? So where to configure the client push account? Let me show it to you. I don't know, I don't remember exactly. Let's see whether I remember it or not. Okay, client settings, right? So sites, if you go to administration, overview, site configuration, sites, right? Sites, and if you try to go to client installation settings and client push, you would be able to see option client push over here, right? So this is the site wide client push configuration which we have not seen yet. Okay, so now over here the default configurations are there. Allow NTM, fallback to NTLM. This is a security issue. We can disable it if you want. Your security team is not happy. And the other important option, you if you want to enable automatic site wide client push, this would be a drastic step in if you are doing it for a big organization, right? With I don't know, maybe 100,000 clients, right? Don't do this, right? That is going to create a lot of issues, right? So this one, enable automatic site wide client push. Okay, so anyways, allow client allow connection fallback to NTLM. This is important. You need to understand this. Okay, and accounts, this is what we are going to we are talking about here, right? So we have not created the client installation account, and our Windows 10 client, if I can go back to the Windows 10 client over here, on which we are going to install the uh, computer management MD. Hopefully it is. I don't know why my Windows 10 device is pretty slow. Normally Azure is better. 45, 14% CPU. It's cool. It's good. Okay. Where? Okay. Local users and groups, right? Administrators. We have only two, right? The local user. This is the local user, and this is domain admin. So we don't have our site system added to administrator. So anyways, the client push is going to fail most probably, right? We are not going to configure these two things, right? One is okay, if I can find, one is client push account. We are not configuring that. If you want to configure, you can use that. You can use an existing account. I don't have any existing account. Otherwise you can use this account. You can browse and you can select any account, right? Probably I will, if I say Anoop, it will check my active directory and it will try to add this account, right? Then I need to provide the password also, right? If I say HTMD user, for example, you would see an interesting error over there, because HTMD user is a normal user in my active directory, and client push require administrative access on the server. Okay, so that is why I'm kind of launching the active directory and trying to find out what is the access at HTMD user is having. HTMD user, and if I go to HTMD user and go to properties and where it is, member of, right? It is part of administrators. Okay, so let me compare this with Anoop. User account Anoop, and I don't know why that N and the dot is there. Okay, I'm still not liking it anyways. Domain admin, it's not domain admin, right? Administrator is there, but administrator doesn't help us because domain admin is part of that local administrators group in the client side, right? Okay, you have already seen that. So if at all we provide this user as a um, SDM, what do you call, client push account user, right? It is not going to work anyways. I'm not going to use that account just to show you how what would be the error and the log files, how it will um, what would be the things which will be shown in the log files. Okay, so site code, this is the default one. If you want to add something, you can add over here for the entire client push, right? Whenever you initiate the client push, all these properties will take automatically, right, into the consideration, right? Okay, so this is the client push installation method which you want to look into, this configuration which you want to look into. Okay, so let's close this, let's minimize, let's close this also. Now I'm going to initiate the client push on that device. Before that, I want to open the log file, CCM log file, server end. Okay, now I'm going back to assets and devices, sorry, assets and compliance, and I'm clicking on the record, discovered record. I'm going to install it, right? The same wizard, I'm going to select the same options, right? So the site, specified specified site, etc. And let me confirm this and summary. Let me enable the log file side, and it's already started. Ooh, okay. Okay, and you can see some interesting errors also, right? Okay, let's analyze now. Process started. MP is available. Yes, MP is available. It's check the service stored procedure. I don't know why I'm going into service principle and all. Right? It's cloud impact probably. Okay. Uh, so attempting to connect. Okay, using machine account. Which machine account? Site server machine account. And no, it is not allowing. But you, so my account has access because I'm a domain admin, right? And my account has access to this. If you see, if I try to access this URL, not URL, SMB path, right? Over here, now it's not giving me access. Earlier, it when we try to use this, it had given me the access. Okay, this is, oh, come on again, Bastion. I think you are doing some nasty stuff over there. Okay, so that is because of the, I think the quotation. I don't know what is that called, quote, right? Now with my user account, I am able to access admin dollar, but this, because first thing, no remote client installation account, we have not configured that account. And as I mentioned, site server doesn't have access, it got failed because admin dollar is required to copy the files from site server to the client. Admin dollar CCM setup, uh, so it didn't happen, failed to connect, error, failed connect to the um, share 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 using machine account. So whenever it says machine account, it's a site server account. Okay, and try each entry to true, warning, no regular. Okay, failed again. Mission account, it is trying with mission account again, trying it again, right? Now every hour it will try, and this error will continue. Okay, and now let's check the where is that? SQL, right? Now let's run the SQL query and understand what is happening over here, right? So this is the HTMD CCM, SCCM. This is the site server, and we got installed. Our client got installed on this site server, and you can see status over here. Status is important, right? Status over here, and it is 4. So status 4 is, oh, okay, it is successful, and status 2, right? Last error, okay, last error code, and how many times it tried. It says, oh, okay, only one time, and retry. Description, previously it was complete, now retry. The previous record, it shows complete, now it shows retry. Now the status is 2, so that means something is having some issues there, right? So this is another way of troubleshooting, but I don't recommend this. Just for your information, I have shared this. Okay, so uh, now let's go back to the console, right? Let's go back to console and go back to monitoring and see, do you see something over here, or to client status. If I say client status, right, and if I see something, nothing over here, right, client check, nothing over here yet, right, that is probably going to take some time. Production client deployment, no complaint status. Okay, that's fine. Everything is kind of nothing populated yet, right? Client dashboard is also kind of no nothing there, right? So that is the overview of client monitoring stuff, right? So we will come to that probably in next sessions, right? So don't worry about that now. Just wanted to show what would be the data over there, right? When you initially set up this SCM. Okay. So now what is next? What you can do is basically either you can add a account, right? If you want to see an account, you can do that. Otherwise, what you can do is you can take a host name over here, host name, and this is the best method, right? Rather than adding an account, if you have, if you trust a mission account than a user account, then probably you can make your security team happy, right? So what I did is I copied that host name, server name, and now I am going to Windows 10 client. Now I'm going to do a manual task. You don't need to do this, right? You can add this through group policy, or you can do scripting, or you can do otherwise it's option is to use the client push account itself, right, with the domain admin access, right? Or it should be part of this administrate not domain admin access, sorry, that was mistake, right? You don't need domain admin access to install the client push, right? To enable the client push, you just need a local administrative access on the client device, right? That user should be part of this particular group, administrators group, local administrators group, on that device, client device, right? Now I'm going to add the site server, and if I check, click on check name, it is going to give me an error probably. Oh, okay, see, because I have not selected the object types. If you have seen the previous videos, you might know this, right? Computers, select the computers, right? And then okay, then check name. You will see it is able to find from the directory. Now click OK. Now click OK. Now let's confirm this, right? Okay, so it's there now. Let's go to see. Now let's go to this one right now. Win C folder, C drive, and check what is going to happen here. Whether there is any CCM folder here. No, there is no CCM folder here yet, right? Because the it couldn't create any services. It couldn't copy the content, right? The content. Now we have added the site server account into the local administrators of the client. Now let's rerun. Right? How to rerun? Probably this is not the best way, but client push. Let's initiate it again, right? Client push. Okay, next, and close and analyze the log file. Right? Where is our favorite log file? Right? Let's see what is going to happen now. Okay, so it is says it is far more less red, right? Red alerts here, right? So using machine account, again warning, no remote client installation account. Why you are not using it, right? Okay, I don't want to use it, right? So using mission account connected, yes, CCR, everything is okay, I think. And WMI root CCM, obviously it won't be there because obviously there's nothing over there, right? And there's no client installation over there, that is why you are not able to see that. That is fine, and this is error different one. And you can see started service, CCM setup. That is good news, right? This, as I mentioned, if you see this, that is good news, right? The the server handed over the installation activity to the client. Now it's client's responsibility, Windows 10 operating system's responsibility to install the client. That is why I normally say like a configuration manager or SCCM is a delivery boy or a courier boy, right? It just delivers with instructions, with content, everything. It will just delivers to the operating system, and then or else to the client, or else to MSI, or else to software update agent for patching, right? And those components at the client end should contact, or you should execute the other activities, right? Relevant activities. Okay, so Windows 10 over here, and you can see, oh, okay, a lot of things are happening over here. CCM setup came up, okay, and CCM came up, okay, CCM cache came up, got created. So these three folders got created now. Okay, so that's a good news, right? So let's go to CCM setup. Okay, I need admin. That's fine. Now, same folder structure, nothing changed, right? And we have already seen this. Now let's go to logs. Now, one thing is different. One thing different here is if you open up CCM setup, it will open up in the notepad. Okay, so notepad is not bad, right? But for me, it is not easy to read like this. Log reading with notepad is not easy for me. uh, I need CM trace or some other log file reader, right? But if you want to see this, you can see and you can use it what is happening over here, but I don't prefer that. And you can you can quickly see what is happening here. Return value 3, right? Return value 3 is not there. That is good news. Okay, that is good news. And you need to be very careful when you search, right? It is basics, but I normally forget to select up and down, right? CCM setup always gives a down the bottom view of the last line. It will show, right? CCM, sorry, not CCM setup, CM trace. right? But if you open up in Notepad, it will always give you the first line, right? What is the first line? And then you need to traverse back to the last line, and you need to go down, drag down, and understand it, right? Like that. Okay, I'm not going to use this anyways. Return value 3 is not there. That is good stuff. Now I'm going to go back to Windows folder and go to CCM, right? I need CM trace, right? So CCM is the folder, client folder, the core client folder for SCCM client or a configuration manager client. All the stuffs is here, right? All the DLLs, all the other stuff, right? All are here. All the core components of the client, all are here. Even my favorite log files, right? So less log files over here, right? Now let me find out the CM trace. My friend over here, CM trace. So CM trace is here. I'm going to click open. I'm going to say this is my default thing, and I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to go back and CCM setup. Now check log files over here, and let's try to use this, and let's say always open, okay, with CM trace. Now this, as you know, this is going to launch, and let me check the CPU. How is the performance of my Azure VM? Okay, so while opening that, I think this installation got successful, and it should. But let's check what is the status in the console, right? Let's go back and see. Okay, so it says yes, but it doesn't say online or offline or something like that, right? Probably we need to give some more time, okay, to get that online status working, etc., etc., right? So it says on offline. Probably the status is not there, but right. So but it says good news is that it says client is the client installation got succeeded now after our trick of adding the site server account to the local administrators group. Okay, so nine. Okay, after loading that MSI log file, it went back to 9%. That's good. So MSI log file is pretty heavy. Okay, so installation product name, okay, succeeded probably. Okay, and as you can see, it's a lot of things you can see over here in the client logs, and sorry, MSI log, and same thing can be seen in CCM setup also. So I don't want to repeat everything over here. MDM setting, configuration setting, that is fine. Okay, fail to send status, okay, that is something which is okay. Reboot success, MSI installation succeeded. It looks okay. Let me search with reboot, right? What is this reboot? Okay, suppress reboot, that is fine. This is for suppress reboot. That is the command line which is used. Let's go down and check. This is search down reboot. CCM reboot successful, mission reboot suppresses. Okay, that is also suppress reboot. No, move files deleted. Okay, fine. That is also fine. Moves. Okay, that's also fine. I don't worry about those reboots. Okay, I think that is fine from a CCM setup perspective. Now let's see what is happening over here in the log file, actual client log file. As you can see, when we initially opened, the client log file was until this level. Now you can see lot more log files. So it is getting populated. The components are getting enabled, right? And it will show the online status soon, right, on the console, and you would be able to install application, deploy configuration item policies, etc., etc. now into the Windows client, right, on this client. Now I don't like this configuration, this control panel, right? And unless and until we close this, and it is not showing me the thing. See, I need to close this and open it, then only it will shows. So that is not a good thing. Probably, ah, it is Windows 7 or Windows XP thing. Probably that is why. Now it shows configuration manager. So I chose okay components. Let's see components. I enabled, installed actions. Okay, you can see actions. Okay, good. Site, you can see site. Okay, I think this is fine. The installation went well, and the log files are increasing. Oh, okay. So now you have lot of log files. See, okay, cool. So now let's go back to the console and see what is going to happen. I need somewhat. I need water now. Oh, see, now you need to be patient, right? Not patient. Patience. You need to have some patience, right? Okay, so now we have. I think I was speaking for I don't know, almost 2 hours, only 10 minutes left. I will open up for the questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask now. Okay, that's easy for me then, if you don't have any questions.
I'm Sujin here. I have one doubt.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I have seen a scenario that for work group missions or external domain servers, which is not in our domain,
Hmm.
when it's external kind of internet-based clients, I can say. So the missions are not coming into the devices, until and unless you install the client. So when you install the client, and missions are coming up, obviously the discovery is opened over there, and the missions are getting discovered only after installing the client. Have you ever seen that? And
And that's
that's
that's a troubleshooting thing which we need to do from a discovery perspective, right? So if I can open up this one, right, and I don't know whether I have the discovery flow chart somewhere here or not. Okay, but the process is if you don't have those, if you are not kind of what you call how I can explain this. Okay, so for example, right, you mean to say it is a DNS or DMC zone device.
DMZ. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so DMC zone, DMZ. So I don't know. I'm spell. I'm
DMZ.
tell. Yeah, DM zone. Okay.
DMZ.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, DM zone. Because I never I never been a server guy, right? I never
Mm.
kind of installed a server or in a corporate world. So I'm always a desktop and workplace man, right? So
Okay.
okay. Anyways, that's a bad excuse. DM zone. Okay, so if you have a DM zone device, then probably you might have issues with DNS, right? Probably you might not be able to ping the servers. Probably the firewall is coming in between, right? So those are the scenarios where the record won't get created, even though the discovery is enabled, and even though you have given the access in the discovery methods, right, to have to discover the devices from that domain controller, right, active directory. So ping should be available. You should be able to ping that particular server. You should be able to have a reply back from that server. So these are the requirement for the discovery. I have somewhere here, I don't know. So the if you can resolve that issue, right, ping related issue, DNS, I don't know whether you already tried and it is
And it could be, I think it could be kind of trust, maybe. I don't know.
no,
But I
trust
was
is
able
not
to
a
RDP. I was able to ping. That I'm pretty
the
sure.
trust is not an issue, I think, because
Okay.
um, I already have many experience without without trust scenarios, right,
Okay.
untrusted forest. So
Okay.
in my organization I use we have different domains, and we have management domain where we install all the SCCM or server components, right? But we have a client domain where we don't have a two-way trust between server domain and client domain. Okay, so so but we are able to discover the devices, and uh, because we open up all the ports, required ports, and the server is able to contact that particular um, um, device from the site server. So this should happen from the site server, right? If you have installed the client, sorry, if you have installed the console in on a terminal server, all right, or somewhere, if from the terminal server you are able to ping, that might not work, or that might not help you, right? But
That way. Yeah.
so
Okay.
if you try to troubleshoot from a primary server, then that might help you to understand the problem, right?
Okay. Okay. And very basic one. What are the? Thanks for this. What are the ports we need to open? This client push install to be worked. We haven't opened any port in our Windows 10 machines, right? Here, or did I miss something?
Yeah, you missed something, and that is my mistake, not your mistake, right?
Okay.
Because I kind of disabled the entire thing, right? So as you can see, firewall, where is the firewall? See, I have opened the firewall in between here, and
Mhm.
I've disabled the firewall entirely.
Okay.
So that is why it has kind of happened. Magic happened, right, automatically. Otherwise,
Okay.
yeah, I need to go into the firewall configuration, and I need to enable all those communication port 80 and the ping, the SMB port 445, etc., etc., etc. Right. So
Okay.
um, because this is SMB traffic, right? Client push
Mm-hmm.
uses SMB traffic using that admin dollar, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
why security team is not very pleased with these client push installation methods. When if we are going to explain them, if we are not going to
Okay.
explain them, then they should be fine.
Okay, okay, fine. And the very last one, I will stop here. So
Yeah.
here you have added one mission, our primary server as a local administrator, right? In the real world scenario, we never add that. We will be adding a particular account over there, right? Let's say
Yeah,
SCCM
yeah,
admin or
that's
log
correct.
kind of.
That's
So
correct.
how it related actually? So what kind of permission we will be giving in that account? Just an
Administrative.
administrative
Yeah,
account, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, it would be full access. That's it.
Yeah, on that particular client device.
Okay, okay, fine.
So when you speak to security, like we will say, I already mentioned somewhere like domain admin access needed, right? No, that is not correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only local administrative account or local administrative access is required. Administrator access is required.
Okay, okay, thanks.
No worries.
Anup, for the cross forest, also this service account or this um, SCCM agent account, um, do we need to give them a permission if it is not fully trusted or there is no trust between this forest?
So if you don't have trust, right? So for example, this is your client device, and if you don't have trust with the management forest, for example, right, where we you hosted or built the servers, right? Then if you try to add that management server, SCCM server, it won't be able to see, right? Or it you won't be able to add that management server into this, right? So that is where we don't have trust between these domains, right? So what you need to do in that scenario is to use the client push account from administration. If you go to sites, right, if you go to client install settings, client push installation account, right, what you can do over here is, over here, either you can use a dummy account or something, right? It will directly try to do something. I don't know, I never tried this recently. I don't know whether this will work or not, right? Let's say this is my domain, right? CC, I don't know. Okay, let's say HT is my domain, and I don't have any trust between my current domain, that is HTMD, and this domain, and I'm going to provide password. Password is also trouble. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Anyways, let's see. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and let's say, okay, so now we have configured a untrusted account over here, right? Untrusted forest account. Now when you initiate the client push, it will use this particular account, right? Over here you would be able to see, okay, a remote client installation account found, and I'll be attempting to connect to this particular share with remote client account, right? So in that the untrusted forest scenario, first of all, most probably in an untrusted forest scenario, your security team won't allow you to do client push, because you are opening up 445 and all the high risk items, right? Admin dollar, it won't they won't allow you to do it. But if you are lucky, then you need to use this kind of account. Probably that would help you. Does that make sense?
Okay, the problem would be the client push. We cannot use it, and that's the limitation for untrusted, right? It need to be done manually. The installation of agents.
No, why do you need to do it manually, right? So client push can be used. There's no limitation from client push, right? The limitation is from your security side, right? If your security is happy to enable all the ports, right, then we can do it through client push. There's no limitation from SCCM side at all.
Okay, how about the admin
So that is
thing?
what I told you, right? So this is the admin account you are adding. So this is untrusted forest admin account, right? So
Okay. Yep.
for example, as I mentioned, HT is your untrusted forest where your Windows 10 clients are, right? Okay, and I'm adding a user
Yeah,
account.
got that. So that account have that permissions to install the agent on that untrusted forest.
Yeah, this account should be part of your local administrators of on your Windows 10 device.
Got that.
Yeah, then it will work. So there's no limitation from SCCM side. Client push will work, okay, in that scenario also, but you need to convince the security, if I understand correctly, right?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
But
Okay, so somebody is trying to say something, or that was horrible. I don't know what was that. Are you guys able to hear me? Somebody is trying to speak. Sujin, I think your audio is having some trouble, right? Your mic or system is having some trouble. No, we are not able to hear you. Okay. Any other questions
Sujit,
apart from Sujin? Sujit, sorry.
anyway, that's not me, Sujit. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah, I always get confused between between you two.
Yeah. Sure.
uh, any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to finish this call today for today. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you next week. If you are only interested in SCCM, I'll talk to you next week. Same time, same place, Saturday, 6 p.m. India time. And that's it. Thank you all for joining. Have a great rest of your evening, right? And
Thank
week.
you.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Vinod.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.